Welcome to Dub Talk Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World. The Warriors went to the Garden, a very tough place to play. They faced the defending champs, and they beat them on their own court. I'm going to turn off the sound right here on my computer. I don't need myself in stereo. And then they held them to 11 points below their scoring average. They handled, with their defense, the #1 team in the league. Number 1, Zena, Keita. I'm Kerith, Burke. So, Zena, as you think about this, watching what the Warriors did tonight, because they did have a hard time at the start of this game, going down 14-3, clawed their way back, preserved their lead once they had it with defense tonight.
Absolutely. There were 3 things that I noticed about the Warriors defense that I love. Number 1, one and done possessions. There's something to be said when you are a team and you're putting up shots and you're immediately having your shot be rebounded and turned the other way, every shot becomes even more valuable. So you feel sped up. You feel like you have to find the right one, and that's what happens when you're getting 38 defensive rebounds. Warriors were taking the ball, transition breaking. They led in the fast break point battle tonight. Number 2, being able to make sure that they were trapping on the wings, disrupting the rhythm of the Warriors. This is something that Jerry Stackhouse has implemented with the Warriors. You're seeing teams go off of screens or getting the first or second pass in an offense on the wing, trap. Now you have to find a way out of it. You got to work around it. It's feeling uncomfortable. It's feeling sped up. And then last but not least, activity. You saw GP2 right here. You see Andrew Wiggins making Jayson Tatum's life hell. I mean, it was unreal just how all over the place the Warriors were. I mean, Steph Curry, 36 years old, added 4 steals tonight. This is just the theme of what the Warriors defense has been all season long so far. And tonight, this is what allowed them to elevate above the Celtics.
Okay, the Celtics are such a good three-point shooting team as well. Closing that out, making sure they're not getting anything easy. That was a massive focus tonight, and you saw some of those real closeouts by every guy, not just the occasional, uh-oh.
No. Right, exactly. They're really going out there. And
Yeah.
speaking of, I mean, when you see the particular defense that Wiggins, and we're going to talk about him, but that particular defense on Jayson Tatum, that really disrupted everything that the Celtics were trying to do, especially with the fact that they didn't have a Jaylen Brown to rely on tonight. So when you've got your main scorer kind of struggling in the first half, it sets you apart in terms of what can we do offensively. You saw the Celtics really stuck in the first half, and that was due to the Warriors coming out strong.
Yeah, Jayson Tatum could not get comfortable early on. 2 of 7, 1 of 2, 4 turnovers in the first half. So he did not have a quick start to this game. Credit the Warriors defense there. He arrived at 32 points, which is better than his average, but he had to fight to get there. So one more thing to mention real quick. If you're watching on YouTube from anywhere around the world, be sure to stick some questions in there for us. We're going to have the whole next segment is about answering what you want to know. All right, since you mentioned Jayson Tatum, why don't we hear from him at the podium? Interesting.
Yeah, I think they just did a good job of being more physical, and obviously they were, blitzing all of the ball screens. I came off, and we weren't, or I could speak for myself, a little rushed in the first half, and I think in the second half just accepted it and played with more patience and made the right read more often than not.
Is that something that you kind of have to get more used to? It's almost like relearning. It seemed like last year maybe you would have handled that a little bit better, maybe a little bit sooner, but because it's a new year, you just kind of have to get used to that stuff all over again?
No, not relearning. I done seen every defense we just didn't have our best first half. And we picked up in the second half, but we just got to be better.
Jayson, it seems like you want to put the drama around the Olympics behind you. Coach Kerr said as such at the beginning of the game. The fans seem to lean into the drama. How much, if at all, was that on your mind, and how much do you think it impacted your game?
It wasn't on my mind. Just another Wednesday, another game, another opportunity to come in and try to be the best player I can be, and another day to just try to get a win.
What did you see in the late game execution, and what are some things that you guys know you need to work on going forward?
Just some of those 50-50 balls in critical moments. Me not inching out on the 3 for Buddy Hield. The air ball that they got, the rebound and tip in, I blocked Steph's shot. They got the loose ball and made the layup. just in those moments, we know we got to be better, and we have in the past. We just didn't make enough plays on that end at the end of the game.
And just speaking as a fan of basketball, this game delivered, I would say. Lots of swings and momentum. There's a 1-point lead for the Warriors heading into the fourth quarter. They grew it a little bit, but it was still close. No fourth quarter turnovers for the Warriors. That's one of the things that helped them preserve this lead.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun watching this game. It felt like two heavyweights. Like this was exactly what you wanted out of these two teams that have a little bit of contention for one another. In the last 3 years, these two teams have split WL, WL, WL. So you knew that coming into this game, there was going to be a little bit of something, especially considering the fact that the Warriors lost by over 50 points the last time they came out.
Ouch, I think they have a long memory too, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and there's still enough, that 2022 championship is still fresh enough. There's still similar enough guys on the roster that this does feel like, oh, I know you, and I want to play you well. There you go. Because the Warriors' next opponent is the Cavaliers, but the roster is not even the same picture.
Completely different than what, than the historic battle between those two teams.
There you go. All right, Steph Curry, 34 minutes tonight. The ankle looks totally fine. As you look at Steph's game, what are your observations?
Oh, man. It's just unreal. Curry is one of the best shapeshifters in this game, shifting from a point guard when you need him to a shooting guard when you need it. Here's the shooting guard example, being able to put up a shot with hands in his face. I mean, night in, night out, Cornette, Keita, whoever 6'9", it didn't matter. He was able to get his shot up and get his shot in. You saw him in the first half really struggle. This game, he passes Charles Barkley for 30th most points scored in NBA history. First half of the game, focused on being a point guard, was able to get his assists off. 6 assists in the first half. Second half, focuses on his shot. 6 of 14 from the floor, 3 assists. Also, 6 of 6 free throws. This is huge.
Especially after the last game.
Especially after the last game. The number one thing everybody was saying, get in the gym, Dubs, hit your free throws. And they did that, whether it was Curry, whether it was Draymond, but particularly Curry, I mean, really literally being anything and everything that this team needs at any given point in the game.
Yeah, 27 points, the highest total he's had this season. You'll also take that assist to turnover ratio, as you mentioned, 9 assists, 3 turnovers, because Curry did have to be more of a ball handler this evening. No Brandon Pajemski in this one. I was looking at, Curry did all of this while being guarded by Drew Holiday, often regarded as the best defender in the league. Just watching that video when you were talking, you could see Curry swarmed by all sorts of guys, and then Drew being a barnacle on him, because that's how you have to respect Steph Curry.
Absolutely.
Okay, also, if you're going to talk about a defensive effort, you have Draymond in this game. Somebody that the Boston fans love to antagonize. He likes to antagonize back.
Hey, it's fuel for him.
Yeah, Draymond continued his strong start to the season.
Absolutely. The way that Steph Curry was the poise for the Warriors on the offensive end, Draymond Green was that poise on the defensive end. You can always count on Draymond to be that backline of defense. The thing about it is his box score isn't going to reflect just how much he impacts the game, but you see him directing traffic. As we've said before, he is a maestro on offense in that way, being able to always provide his assists and his rebounds, but it's the little things. Draymond only had 1 foul in this game.
I'm actually surprised.
Right? This is a big deal, considering how aggressive the Warriors defense was, how aggressive the Celtics were trying to take it inside. He was able to hold back that line of Al Horford and Nehemiah Keita in the back without fouling. That is huge and really helpful when you consider that they also beat the Celtics in the points in the paint comparison. And that's Draymond showing up as a defender.
This is a very Draymond line, 9, 6, and 4, because this wasn't his night shooting. He attempted 3 threes, he attempted 4 threes, had that air ball at the end in the fourth quarter that Kevon Looney cleaned up for him. There you go. But no, Draymond's never going to get down on himself if he's not having a good shooting night, because it's not necessarily his first duty when he's on the floor.
He can impact the game game in so many more ways.
Okay, Andrew Wiggins. We keep talking about this idea of two-way Wiggins, or can he get back to the guy that he was in 2022 when the Warriors won the championship? We're seeing glimpses of that for Andrew Wiggins. I'm going to choose to say that's why he's wearing number 22. What do you think?
Woo, the footwork tonight was beautiful. Everyone talks about how JK is one of those people in the league. Once he gets downhill, you can't stop him. You better put Wiggins on that list too. He can elevate, he can fly with the best of them. He was able to be active all over the floor, but we're showing all these offensive clips. That wasn't even the highest thing he did tonight. It was the clamps that he put on Jayson Tatum. Jayson Tatum literally did not know what to do in the first half. He was talking about the physicality. It was Wiggins' physicality. He was talking about them being all over the floor. It was the length of Wiggins being all over the floor. He was tremendous in making sure that Jayson Tatum didn't go off, particularly at the same time that others were going off.
There you
Because
go.
let's just be real. Yes, Jayson Tatum got 24 points in the second half.
Yes,
Let's just be
we will
real.
give him
He
his
had
due,
a
absolutely.
17-point quarter.
Yeah.
But it's important to note with the Boston Celtics, you'd much rather have a trickle of big scores from a Derek White, a Peyton Pritchard, little trickles here and there in different quarters. You would hate to have a barrage of shots from Peyton Pritchard plus a Jayson Tatum.
Yes.
Shots from Derek White plus a Jayson Tatum. So the timing in which he went off in this game was key. And being able to stop him and slow him from going off in the first half, huge advantage for the Warriors that Wiggins set up.
Yeah, the league's best players will get their buckets. You just have to make it difficult for them. And one of the reasons why the Warriors won this game is role players, talking about the bench yet again. 49 bench points for the Warriors, 24 bench points for the C's. So let's talk about some of these unsung heroes, because Kyle Anderson stepped into this game and hit 3 straight threes to swing the momentums back to the Warriors and kind of stun the Celtics and the Garden itself.
Absolutely. I think that's the number one thing that he did, was kept the Warriors in the game early with that shooting spree. But one thing that we forget, and shout out to Kyle Anderson for reminding us tonight, he is also a point guard. This was his original role. I actually sat beside his uncle Eric before the very first game, a home game of the season, and I was talking to him.
You sat by his family?
I was courtside in the first pregame. I guess,
okay.
And so I was sitting down and I see this man like say hello to Kyle, then say hello to Draymond, like dap him up, real love.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to know who
Like,
this man
who's
is.
this?
Who are you? So I sat down beside him and asked him, I was like, who are you? He ended up being Kyle Anderson's uncle. And I was talking to him about how I appreciated Kyle Anderson's game, even when he was with the Timberwolves. Of course, from a defensive perspective, but I also think that he's really poised on the offensive end too. And his uncle Eric was like, yeah, because he was a point guard.
Yeah.
People forget that that was his role. He just happened to grow to 6'9". This is why he was able to handle the pressure of the Celtics tonight. And we also showed some clips of Kevon Looney. Let's not sleep on the fact that Kevon Looney is drinking some special water. He's aging backwards.
He's the Benjamin Button of,
What?
of the NBA.
It's surreal. He looks amazing. His hips are moving. He's getting on the board. 6 offensive rebounds tonight, 2 of which kept the gaps close. At 88-92, it was a Kevon Looney putback off of Andrew Wiggins' layup. 106 to 102, it was a Kevon putback off of a Steph Curry missed 3. He was the one doing the little things to keep the Warriors in the game. Even if he wasn't getting a rebound, taps to himself, taps out. Unbelievable defense as well. I mean, give these 2 guys their props.
10 rebounds as well for Kevon Looney. We can talk about it. Like, that always goes unsung, his work that he does on the glass, or his knack for just being in the right place at the right time, having those key buckets. Because, if you were just glancing at the box score, you'd be like, 6 points, okay, quiet. But no, when they came was essential. The fact that he's on the floor at the end of the game shows how much this team respects what he does.
Great point.
Yeah, teammates are always there. I mean, remember when Steve Kerr said, I will ride with Looney forever?
Yeah.
He's like,
I'm with you. Let me get the passenger seat. I got you. Don't worry.
Anyway, also, if Zena Keita ever sits next to you and says, who are you? Don't you feel like you would just tell her your life story? Like, she's so inviting and wonderful.
I appreciate you. We had a great conversation. His uncle was like awesome. So
Great.
Hopefully he comes back.
We should hear from Kevon Looney, who sat down at the podium.
It hasn't affected me much. Kind of changing my approach to how I go get offensive rebounds. Over the last couple of years, I was able more just to push people around. I was a little stronger, and I was able just to move guys. And now, after going through preseason, I was kind of trying to figure out what's gonna be my best way to either using my quickness or more just using more physical, and I'm trying to find that combination of doing both, depending on who's guarding me, what center I'm going up against, and I've been figuring out as late. We just talk about flying around, knowing the shots we were willing to give up, the shots that we want to take away, the shooters that we want to shoot, things like that. We go over in game plan. Stack is on us every day. We talk about sometimes, like, man, you sure you want to give up that three? He said, just live by our principles. If we do everything the right way, the numbers are going to play out. And I think we've been doing that as of late. They made a lot of threes in the second half, and it always gets nerve-wracking when a team like that gets going. But we live and die by our principles, and we was able to guard them pretty well.
All right, there's a story from one of the unsung heroes, Buddy Hield, looking good as well, hyping guys up. Listen, next up, we're going to get to your comments, your questions, as we continue Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by Mancini Sleep World. Visit Mancini Sleep World for our Black Friday sale. Save big on premium mattresses plus free delivery. Hurry in now or visit us online at sleepworld.com.
Thanks for tuning in on YouTube. Familiar names in here. The chat's pretty lively. People are feeling good, writing in all caps as usual. Hang on, I'm scanning though. I don't know that I've seen the word vibes tonight. That's kind of interesting. Man.
It is good vibes on the Warriors
But just
right
the
now.
feeling that in a national game against the defending champs, the Warriors showed up, showed out. Yeah, looking good.
Last time it was a national game against the Celtics. It was painful. It was painful.
It was 50, how many points? 51 points?
51 to 118.
The fact that it had like a
yeah.
5 in it is...
No, it was 88 to 1. I don't even know what it was.
It's okay.
It was bad.
There's so many
134, maybe? I don't know. Either way, it was bad. I went back and checked the box score, so I should know this score, but it was just interesting seeing the starters played like under 16 minutes. Like
at some point,
Kerr was
the
like,
white flag was like, nah.
Yeah,
nah.
like
Okay.
let's get the young guys out there.
Got it. Do we have? How did the questions come in? Do we have 3 of them? A little bit more. Yeah. Okay. Great. Wonderful. Oh, we have some more in here. Yeah, this is good. Ooh, 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 ooh. D, hello. Grant, hello. Vibes. Here come the vibes. Catherine, how are you? What's up, Sam? Lots of people saying, Zena, Zena.
Welcome back to me.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
I appreciate you guys. 140 to 88. Thank you, Grant Silman.
Whew.
Solid 58-point swing.
Solid 50.
Whoa.
Yikes.
There you go.
Welcome back to Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World. That's Zena. I'm Kerith. The Warriors have won 5 consecutive road games now for the first time since the 2015-2016 season. Kind of the start of a dynasty there. That's a fun time to think about. We will not get ahead of ourselves. The Warriors have arrived at a 7-1 record, though, by beating the defending champs. The chat is lively here on YouTube. Let's get to some of your questions this evening. If we could throw up that first one. Why is the first unit always a slow start? The bench comes in, it just seems like the game moves fast. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question as the Warriors try to figure out who their starters are going to be. Because of some of the new players or because of the injuries to Steph, to Andrew Wiggins. I think I mentioned they had their 6th different starting lineup in as many games, which I think had to do with tonight's slow start and maybe just the emotion and adrenaline of the game, because this was a big one for the Warriors.
Absolutely. I remember asking Draymond when I believe it was like one of the 3rd or 4th games and he was on the bike off court, you know, what's it been like, you know, in terms of playing with all these different lineups. And he was like, some of these teams haven't even practiced together yet in practice. That's incredibly difficult to try to get adjusted to who's going to be on your wing, how are you, what positions are you going to be in the scheme of the offense if you don't know who's going to be out there with you on any given night. And then you think about the fact that some of these teams that are going up against them know that. So their schemes, their defensive schemes might change, it might differ, and that also can throw off what you're trying to do offensively, leading to a slow start.
Yeah, you jogged my memory about something too. Even Draymond said not having Clay out there on the floor is a moment of hesitation, like looking and not seeing the guy who's always been there. So yeah, just some, I would say just some easing into the season and figuring out who's beside you and what their tendencies are, where they like to get the ball, those types of things.
There's a second part to that question, right?
Tell me.
I think there was a second part to the question about if the 11-man rotation will continue. I'm not sure But
let's go for that one, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so an 11-man rotation tonight, it was,
without pods.
Thank you. 5 plus 6, that would be 11.
Yep. One less than 12.
There we go.
Yeah, I think it's going to keep going as long as the bench continues to produce. I mean, when you are gifted with this much talent on your bench and everyone's willing to play their role, why not? I think when Steve Kerr said, I can't afford to not play 12 men. I see what he means because every single time that these bench players come in, they produce something, whether it's a defensive spurt, whether if it's offensive spurt, whether it's just some activity that keeps the momentum going. Why not? Yeah. And you can keep your reserves in terms of your starters, keep their legs. Right?
Yes.
Keep them fresh.
Yes.
And when you think about the length of a season and how much you actually do want to make sure that your Steph Currys and your Draymond Greens and your Kevon Looneys are fresh towards the end of the season when you really have to make a push for the playoffs, this is great for the Warriors. Being able to have reduced minutes for some of your starters or in general and still be able to get wins.
That's what I think the Warriors will choose. Minutes, lower minutes for the starters if it means they can share and everybody eats. Of course, this is all contingent on winning and building
Absolutely,
leads.
and that's right.
And some of this is trust for Steve Kerr because he has to coach in the moment. If he has a 5-man unit out there, if he's riding a hot hand, if he wants a defensive lineup, those kind of things. So a lot of this is feel as well. Right now it kind of works that they can have these, it's not like a hockey rotation, but it's sort of like okay, you get these minutes.
Yeah,
you
like
get
squadron
these minutes.
changeouts.
Yeah, that kind of thing. It's working right now. And that's, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But there will be some time during the season where Phil's broke, and then he's going to have to change it.
As soon as this stops working, absolutely. Something's going to have to give, and they're going to have to shift. But if it's not working, if it ain't broke, don't
Could we
fix it.
see the final question, and we'll take that into the break? Because I think I saw one about whether Steph could be an MVP candidate. Is that the one that you had up there?
Love that question.
I'm not sure. No? Okay. Somebody was asked for a pods update. We will give that to you in the break as well. And let's talk about Steph Curry, whether he could be one of those MVP candidates. We will continue here on Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World. Tough road ahead. That looks like Cleveland to me.
Been there before.
Okay, somebody was asking about the pods update. I regret I don't have one for you. There was like a double question there. Any update on pods? No, it's just an illness. The team has not specified what that illness is. Steve Kerr indicated pregame that pods really, really wanted to play, but they held him out. That was the decision of the medical staff. So no word yet about his availability for the remaining games. Your favorite play tonight?
Ooh, I'm going to say that second put-back layup by Kevon Looney.
Okay.
After that missed 3 by Steph.
Okay, I can see this play in my mind. I think we might have even rolled the video. It was where Andrew Wiggins was kind of leading a breakaway in transition, but then you could see the moment where he stepped on the gas. Like his body actually went like this as he went up for a layup, and I was like, that's very encouraging. Yeah. That was my favorite play.
Also, I really love this defensive play. Wiggins stuck like a barnacle, I like the way he said that, on Jayson Tatum to the point that he gets a push-off.
Okay.
Foul early in the game. Frustration. Yes.
Jinx. There's a lot of stuff in the chat, so I can't quite remember who asked it or where I saw it, but I think somebody was saying, does Steph legitimately have a chance for MVP this season? The reason why I would say the voters might not give him as much attention is because I don't think we're going to see as many eye-popping point totals from him this season.
Sure.
Because he has more help this year.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to put the team on his shoulder for 40 points, for 50 points. It's really fun when he does.
Yeah.
But there's just more distribution of points for this team as how it's built. And I think Steph would be happy about that ultimately.
Guys, look at the halftime box score. All balanced across, no one above 10 points, up 11.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you want out of a team.
Yeah, team first and then personal stuff. Welcome back to Dubs Talk. All right, 3 games down. Win against the Wizards, win against the Celtics. The Cavaliers next, undefeated at 8-0. Wait a minute, it's 9-0. 9-0 now. Okay.
9-0.
And then OKC after that. So the Warriors still have some top teams to face before coming home for that Clay game on the 12th. Let's just mention, let's give some props to Kenny Atkinson here. In his first year with the Cavaliers, he's become the first coach in NBA history to win his first 9 games in his first year with a new team.
Wow.
So I think fit also works for coaches. Like Kenny Atkinson has found something there in Cleveland.
Yeah, especially when you consider that team's makeup hasn't really changed. Literally has not changed. It's been a matter of him just making the pieces work better together. And Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland are a scary backcourt, backed by a crazy scary front court in Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley. This is going to be a game of who can protect the paint. Because Evan Mobley is an active big. He's different than Nehemiah Keita in that, he's getting the lobs and such, but he's also running the floor. I really would like to see a Trayce Jackson-Davis be active with him and beat him down the court, making things difficult for him to score.
Trayce Jackson-Davis once again continuing his really strong season-long field goal percentage, 4 of 6 tonight in this game. When you look at the Cavaliers, okay, so yes, the Warriors beat the defending champs. Okay, Cavaliers not any easier. Okay, they're the best in the league in field goal percentage, at least coming into this game. Second in points per game, second in 3-point percentage. I mean, you're running into a juggernaut that's very good on both ends of the floor. What my wonder is, I'm not going to call it a worry, but my wonder is, because the Celtics game felt so big, will there be an emotional hangover?
Oh, that's a really great point. I hope not, again, because it's spread across 11 people.
Okay.
Right? It's not 5 people that had to really rile up to get this win. It's rather this entire team has really gelled together to be able to get that win, and they want to continue, because let's just be real, these next 3 games are an indictment on the Warriors.
Yep.
Are they capable of making it to the playoffs? Are not even going in the playoffs and making a splash. It's can they make it to the playoffs? So this is, I think, 1, 2, 3. Now, where I think the emotional hangover will come is right before the Mavs, when Clay comes home. So that's where I'm like, got to be careful.
Okay. All right, the Warriors moving to 7-1. And if there were any questions, because, Buddy talked about this post-game, hearing some of the idea that, well, you didn't play anybody. You arrived at this record without playing anybody. Okay, they beat the Blazers, Jazz, and Pelicans. Those are the cellar dwellers in the West. However, when you go to the Garden and beat the defending champs, okay, maybe you make a little bit of a statement. Can the Warriors continue that statement? Okay, to be determined. The next game's coming up quick against an undefeated team. Thank you for watching Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World. Okay, Kerr against former assistants. Yes, we saw that in the Pelicans. Ha 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 ha. Kenny Atkinson made a great decision turning down the Hornets job and eventually getting the Cavaliers job. I got a piece of advice very early in my career that some of the best moves that you can make are the ones you don't go to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I feel like that's real about life.
Yeah.
Sometimes closed doors are actually a great thing for you. Yeah.
Stay put. Make a good decision. Yes, there you go. What else do we have
Shout
here?
out to Charles Lee, though, out in Charlotte. I think he's doing the best he can with the team that he's got. Brandon Miller just hit a crazy buzzer beater, speaking about offensive putbacks. So they're doing their thing.
No, and you know what? All this stuff is cyclical too. There was one time very recently where the Warriors had the worst record in the league. Okay? All it takes is one injury and like your whole thing can be thrown off. It's cyclical in the league. Certain teams are not going to be punching bags forever. So watching them kind of toil in those moments, see if they can recreate themselves, see if they can have good habits while they're struggling, and see if they can grow from that. There you go. Okay, I guess I'm done preaching for this evening. Is there anything else you wanted to mention?
Never preaching, never preaching. No, this is great for the Warriors. It's a huge, huge win. I do really hope they use this to catapult them into the Cleveland game, because you do have to get up.
Yep.
You do have to get up for them. That team plays incredibly well. There's a lot of connections. Kenny Atkinson, Ty Jerome has had some significant minutes over in Cleveland as well, hitting some big shots for them, playing really great defense, some ties there. I hope that the Warriors feel as, I think, energized as their fan base does around them right now, because they're doing it. They're doing great.
Let me tell you something as somebody who used to travel with the team. You always wake up in the city that you're going to play in. So I would expect the Warriors to leave Boston tonight to land in Cleveland. That way they can get a practice on Cleveland's court, et cetera. Because Cleveland is a sleepier city, I hope the team comes in a little rested. There are not as many distractions.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
All right, and on that note, sleep well, everybody. Night, night, as they say in Boston. I
Yes,
think
they do.
Steph did that once. Night, night. All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.